former Utah Governor Jon Huntsman.
Thank you. Good evening, candidates. Governor Huntsman, in Utah, you offered millions of dollars in tax credits to promote clean energy. In June, you said that as president, you would subsidize natural gas companies. How is that different from the Obama administration, which gave the solar panel company Solyndra $500 million in federal loan guarantees? And as we all know, that company ended up bankrupt, and we taxpayers ended up on the hook.
Chris, first of all, it's an honor to be here in Orlando, home of my wife, the greatest human being I've known in 28 years. We've learned some important lessons as this economy has spun out of control. We have some hard decisions to make, and we're not going to fix the problem. We're not going to be able to bring our people together in America until we fix the economy. I'm convinced that part of the divide that we're experiencing in the United States, which is unprecedented, it's unnatural, and it's un-American, is because we're divided economically. Too few jobs, too few opportunities. We have learned that subsidies don't work and that we can no longer afford them. I believe that we can move toward renewable energy, but we're going to have a bridge product. Everybody wants to draw from the sun and draw from the wind, and I'm here to tell you that eventually that will make sense, but today the economics don't work. We need something like natural gas. I put forward an energy independence program along with tax reform and regulatory reform. Just by drawing from natural gas, for example, you're looking at 500,000 to 1 million jobs over the next 5 years. It is ours, it's affordable, it has important national security implications, and we should begin the conversion process.
But just a 30-second follow-up, sir. In June, you told the New Hampshire union leader, as president, you would subsidize the natural gas industry.
I would be willing to begin an effort so long as there was a rapid phase-out. I do not like subsidies. I do not like long-term subsidies. But if there was some sort of way to get the ball rolling with a quick phase-out, I would be in favor of that.
Governor Huntsman, this next one's for you. This week, President Obama proposed a tax hike on millionaires, saying that they need to pay their, quote, fair share. According to an August Gallup poll, 66% of American adults actually believe that a tax hike on the wealthy is a good idea to help tackle our mounting debt. Is there any scenario under which you could side with the 66% of people who believe that it is a good idea to raise taxes on millionaires?
We're not going to raise taxes. This is the worst time to be raising taxes, and everybody knows that. We need to grow. We need to be reminded of what Ronald Reagan told us so beautifully, that which is great about America, freedom. We need to reestablish freedom in the marketplace. We need to address our underlying structural problems that we have. And in order to do that, we're going to have to fix our taxes. And we put forward a program endorsed by the Wall Street Journal that phases out for individuals all the loopholes, all the deductions, and creates 3 rates, 8, 14, 23. On the corporate side, it phases out all of the corporate welfare, all of the subsidies, and it gets it from 35 to 25%. This is exactly where we need to be. We need to grow. We need to create jobs. This is not a point in time where we should be raising taxes. We need to fix the underlying structural problems in this economy. And until such time as we do, we're not going to provide the confidence to businesses who are looking to deploy capital in the marketplace and hire people. And that would be serious tax reform like I proposed and like I did in the state of Utah. And that would be structural reform as well, dealing with Dodd-Frank and repealing Obamacare, because they are presenting tremendous uncertainty in the marketplace right now.
I've taught in both public and private schools, and now as a substitute teacher. I see administrators more focused on satisfying federal mandates, retaining funding, trying not to get sued, while the teachers are jumping through hoops, trying to serve up a one-size-fits-all education for their students. What, as president, would you seriously do about what I consider a massive overreach of big government into the classroom?
Governor Huntsman.
This is a key question because it has so much to do with our nation's competitiveness. I feel like I've run my own clinical trial in my home raising 7 kids. We've seen every option. We've experienced everything out there. But as governor, I learned some important things. I signed the second voucher bill in the United States, Carson Smith. I've actually done something about this. We actually worked on early childhood literacy. If you can lock in the pillars of cognitive development around reading and math before age 6, you're giving those kids the best gift possible as they then proceed through education. Finally, you've got to say no to unfunded mandates coming out of Washington. They're totally unacceptable. No one loves their schools more than parents and local school boards and local elected officials. Localize, localize, localize. Just one issue. I just want to respond to my friend Rick Santorum here. Is the microphone working?
It is.
Thank you. We do have a difference of opinion here in terms of overall foreign policy. And I think, as the only one on stage with any hands-on foreign policy experience, having lived overseas 4 different times, we're at a critical juncture in our country. We don't have a foreign policy, and we don't project the goodness of this country in terms of liberty, democracy, open markets, and human rights with the weak core. And right now in this country, our core, our economy is broken. And we don't shine that light today. We're 25% of the world's GDP. The world is a better place when the United States is strong. So guiding anything that we talk about from a foreign policy standpoint needs to be fixing our core. But second of all, I believe that after 10 years of fighting the war on terror, people are ready to bring our troops home from Afghanistan, Rick. They're ready to bring our troops home. This country has given its all.
Governor Huntsman.
What remains behind, some element to collect intelligence, special forces capability, and we're going to have to do that in every corner of the world. But we need to fix this core and get serious about what the rest of the 21st century holds for this country.
Senator Santorum.
This may not come as a huge revelation. We've been talking about Pakistan here, but at the end of the day, folks, only Pakistan can save Pakistan. Only Afghanistan can save Afghanistan. Yeah. All that I want right now at this point in history is for America to save America. We've got to fix our core and get it right.
Thank you.
On YouTube that was submitted on health care, and it comes from Ian McDonald of Michigan, who says he has a health problem. Watch it, sir.
Hi, I'm a student and I have a chronic heart condition. So for me, and those like me, the Democrats' health care reform, allowing us to stay on our parents' insurance longer was a godsend. If you were elected, would you work, as is the stated position of your party, to repeal this reform? And if so, are we supposed to just sign up for 12 credit hours and pray really hard that our ailments don't prevent us from going to class?
Governor, what about provisions that Ian talks about, for instance, the one that allows kids to stay on their parents' policies until they're 26, or not limiting coverage for pre-existing conditions? President Obama says the only way that insurance companies can afford to provide those kinds of reforms is with the individual mandate, where they get a lot of new customers.
When I hear this discussion, I think of my daughter Elizabeth, who's sitting on the front row, who suffers from juvenile diabetes. And I also am reminded that we're fundamentally approaching health care reform the wrong way. This $1 trillion bomb that Obamacare means to this country over 10 years is creating such uncertainty in the marketplace that businesses aren't willing to hire. They're not willing to deploy capital into the marketplace. It has gummed up our system. So you say, what do? I say we go out to the states and let the states experiment and find breakthroughs in how we address health care reform. Healthcare reform, it's a $3 trillion industry. It's the size of the GDP of France. It's large, it's complicated. All I want to do is do the kind of thing we did in the state of Utah in direct response. We need affordable insurance policies. We don't have affordable insurance policy today. We got one in the state of Utah, a stripped-down, bare-bones, catastrophic coverage policy that young people could finally afford. And then you can start whittling down the high percentage of the people who are uninsured in this country because they have an affordable policy. That's number one. Number two, we have to deal with cost containment measures like harmonizing medical records. We were the first state to do that. So let's forget about federal fixes and solutions and turn to the states where we're going to find real breakthroughs and real answers to this terribly difficult and complicated problem.
Thank you.
What I'm asking for is, how are you going to turn this country around? We'll go down the row, 30 seconds each. Governor Huntsman.
First of all, let me say that this is a human tragedy playing out with 15 million unemployed, so many million beyond who are so dispirited they've absolutely given up. Sheriff Hardy, who's a great sheriff in Hillsborough County, New Hampshire, talks about foreclosures that his folks are now handing out, first time ever to the middle class. I would drop 3 things on the doorstep of Congress to change and turn this situation around. 1, my tax reform package, endorsed by the Wall Street Journal. 2, serious regulatory reform, Dodd-Frank, Obamacare repealed. 3, energy independence. Boone Pickens had some great ideas in terms of converting to natural gas. It's a 500,000 job creator over 5 years. It would get the engines of growth going like nothing else I can think of.
Again, if you had to choose a running mate, one of the people on the stage with you, who would you choose and why? 30 seconds down the row. It is a YouTube question. Governor Huntsman.
I'm tempted to say that when all is said and done, the two guys standing in the middle here, Romney and Perry, aren't going to be around because they're going to plunge at each other to death. But I'm also reminded of about 4 years ago, we had two front runners in similar situations. One by the name of Rudy Giuliani, I think, and the other by the name of Fred Thompson. They seemed to disappear altogether. I can't remember where they went. But I would have to say, since Chris Wallace doesn't qualify as somebody on the stage, so I can't pick one of you, that Herman Cain, because of his selection of ties, the fact that we both apparently agree with the gold standard, well, wearing the yellow ties here tonight. And because of the good neighbor policy, 999 mixed with my tax policy would be the most competitive thing this nation could ever achieve. I'd have to say Herman's my man.
Candidates, thank you very much.